Welcome back to my vlog, which let's be honest is mostly watched by my husband, my mom, and probably me checking if I look okay on camera. Today we're in Rome to visit the Colosseum. Well, by visit I mean admire it from a safe financial distance. I've already been inside once and apparently one kidney per lifetime is enough. Seriously, why is it so expensive? As an Indian, I'm used to visiting historical monuments for the piece of a packet of chips. Back home you hand over 20 rupees and boom, history. Here I looked at the ticket price and suddenly understood why the gladiators fought. They were probably trying to afford entry too. Anyway, stick around and watch the whole vlog to see what I actually did in Rome. First of all, this place is always packed. I swear no matter the season, the Colosseum has more visitors than my YouTube channel. But honestly, it's not surprising. The Colosseum is one of those places that the whole world knows about. Even as a little girl growing up in a small town in India, so small that most people have never heard of it, I knew about the Colosseum, the Roman Empire, and dreamed of seeing it one day. Back then, it felt like one of those impossible dreams, something I'd only ever see in textbooks and documentaries. So every time I come here, I still can't quite believe that I'm actually standing in front of it. And honestly, that feeling never gets old. We were here with our Turkish friends, and here's my beautiful Turkish friend making her cameo in the vlog. Then I discovered that you can get this amazing view of the Roman Forum and the ruins of Julius Caesar without paying anything. As someone who loves a good free view, I was very impressed. Of course, we then headed to a cafe near the Colosseum because sitting in a cafe with the Colosseum in the background was another dream come true. Please ignore the giant jacket I'm carrying around. For some reason, I thought Rome wouldn't be hot, which makes absolutely no sense because I've watched countless movies and series about the Roman Empire and not once did I see anyone wearing a puffer jacket. Yet somehow I still came dressed for Siberia. The logic is missing and honestly I may never find it. Getting to this cafe was an adventure in itself. We entered through one cafe, then somehow crossed through about 5 others. Honestly, I still don't know how that happened. Maybe the guy inviting us in actually worked for a completely different cafe. In Rome, anything is possible. But I wasn't complaining. I loved wandering through all those tiny, narrow passageways, hopping from one cafe to another. I even got a sneak peek into a few kitchens. Basically a free behind-the-scenes tour that nobody asked for, but I thoroughly enjoyed. And then, after our accidental cafe obstacle course, we finally reached our destination. Of course, I trusted the Italians to order for me and they brought this. Bruschetta, I think? Please don't cancel my Italian residency if I pronounce that wrong. Along with the Coke, it turned out to be one of the best things I've ever eaten in a long time. And here are me and my husband leaving the cafe. One thing that really surprised me is that even Italians are still completely in love with Rome. Honestly, if even the locals are still impressed by it, you know this city is something special. I mean, just look at these buildings. There were hundreds of them. At one point, I genuinely started wondering if Rome had collected all the historical buildings in the world and kept them in one city. Everywhere I looked, there was just more history. After absorbing centuries of civilization, we naturally did what all tourists do. We got hungry, so we headed to this cafe where the line was ridiculously long. I still have no idea what was so special about it, because as usual, I was just blindly following my Italian friends. By this point, I had already walked more than I normally do in a month. So while everyone else waited in line, I found a tiny pavement, sat down dramatically and waited for food like a Victorian woman recovering from a great tragedy. I don't know why I get tired so easily. Maybe I have some mysterious vitamin deficiency, or maybe my body just wasn't designed for this much walking. The investigation is still ongoing. Anyway, this was the cafe we came to and I'll spare you my attempt at pronouncing its name because I'm already struggling with Italian. I don't need to create a new trend of Indians being roasted for their Italian pronunciation too. And of course I ordered Coke, not wine. Drinking wine in the afternoon is just not my style. I'm Nepali Indian. We don't sip gracefully, we commit. So it's better to save that energy for the evening. I ordered a Roman carbonara and honestly it was incredible. I almost dropped it because I'm naturally gifted at turning every meal into a potential disaster. But thankfully, both the pasta and my dignity survived. And honestly, it wasn't just delicious. Eating carbonara in Rome felt surreal. I know I keep talking about dreams, but Rome really is that city for me. No matter how many times I come here, it still feels magical. Also, I had cheese all over my lips, so I basically needed an entire box of tissues just to get through this meal with some dignity. But honestly guys, this moment meant a lot to me. The strange thing is I never actually expected my life to take me here. Growing up in a small town in India, Rome felt like a place that belonged in history books, movies and documentaries. Not somewhere I would casually be eating lunch. So sitting there eating carbonara in the heart of Rome, I just felt incredibly grateful. Sometimes life turns out so differently from what you imagined, and in the best possible way. And I think that's what makes life beautiful. Those moments when reality somehow exceeds your expectations. I know I've said this a lot throughout the vlog, and yes, it's probably getting repetitive, but that's just how much this place means to me. Before I end this vlog, just look at these women making pasta by hand. Watching them, I finally understood why the line for this cafe was so long. Fresh pasta really does make a difference. And honestly, it reminded me a little of home. In our culture, we have handmade dishes like thukpa, and somehow handmade food always tastes better. Of course, the ingredients and spice levels are completely different. Trust me, ours is much spicier. But there was something about the texture of the pasta that felt strangely familiar. Maybe that's why I loved this meal so much. It wasn't just delicious. Somehow, thousands of kilometers away from home, it still felt a little like home. And on that unexpectedly emotional note, thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next vlog. Ciao!